Hey guys, welcome to the podcast today. Today we have Dennis Gallo. Dennis Gallo and I actually go way back to high school. Actually, no, middle school. I remember I met him in eighth grade when I just moved to Georgia, and then went to high school. And then later on, we actually ended up going to the same school, but I didn't know he went there until like years later. Went to Kennesaw State, and now he's has a real estate company on the investment side, and he's also has experience flying airplanes and a bunch of cool stuff. But we wanted to kind of take it back to the beginning, to where it all started, maybe like way back, kind of growing up, showing his like journey onto becoming and owning a real estate company. But this podcast is kind of more focused on people that are kind of getting out of high school, going into college, or in college, and kind of want to learn some things that kind of we went through that that may resonate with you guys, and maybe give you some tips on how to avoid some of the mistakes that me and Dennis made throughout that journey. And so Dennis, man, so can you tell us about a little bit about yourself, your background, where you come from, how you got to where you're at today?
Yeah. Hey, I first I want to appreciate you for having me. I get excited when I see people, doing different things and following their dreams. I get excited, and I feel like I should help.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah. And for people who don't know me, Dennis Gallo, born and raised here in Georgia. I family is actually from Honduras, Central America, and low income family. And what else? What else can I tell you? Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
Uh,
where you guys
I
come from.
I got a degree from Kennesaw State in entrepreneurship.
Hmm.
Currently, we have an investment real estate firm with my wife,
Hmm.
and what we do is we're full service real estate. Like we can help you buy, sell, and invest in real estate.
Yeah.
And
So
that's pretty much it.
how'd you even like get to that point and going to school and all that? Because kind of we talked off camera a little bit how it was a struggle for you for like 6 7 years to get to this point where today. Can you tell us, go back to the beginning? What were you
Yeah,
doing, like, during your high school days? Were you thinking about owning a real estate company? Were you thinking about going to college or anything like
yeah,
that?
yeah. So it was a bumpy road. It was a bumpy road to get there. And I want to do this again, just to go over some of the things I did, the mistakes, what I did right, or what I would have done differently.
Mm,
And because it's very important. This is like and this is for someone maybe getting out of high school, not sure what they want to do with their life.
mm-hmm.
Um, it's a big decision to choose a career because you're gonna be more time at work than at home playing with your kids. So it's very important to take some time into deciding what you want to do. You
Mm-hmm.
know, and I was in that situation where I didn't have this guidance, um, and I'm also helping my sister. That I'm trying to help my sister
Okay.
because she's in the same boat. She doesn't know what she want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, she doesn't know what she's good at either. So I think this would be very beneficial. Um, we can go back, and I'll say let's start with middle school.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah. Who was Dennis? Who was Dennis then in middle school? Was he thinking
so
about all this like entrepreneur stuff, school or anything like that?
so middle school, that was a big turning point in my life, and it was like a blessing in disguise, really, because
Okay.
one of the things I will say is that the people you hang around with, they have a huge impact on your life. Okay,
Mm,
because let's say eighth grade, I was hanging around with the wrong crowd.
okay.
These are people that were in gangs, so of course I got in the gang. Okay,
Mm,
and I remember to get in this gang, it wasn't that bad. I just had to be punched in the chest. It was better than others that they
okay.
get beat up by a whole bunch of guys, but
Oh.
it wasn't bad. So I was in that direction. But what happened was I got held back in the eighth grade,
Oh
and
wow. Okay.
yeah, so I got held back. So all of my friends went to high school.
Mm.
Okay, and oh, actually, here in middle school, actually, where I met my sweetheart, Jasmine. You
Okay.
might know her, Jasmine Morel. We're currently married, have a beautiful daughter, Juliana. She also went to high school, and I stayed in middle school.
Oh wow.
So what happened here was that I started. I have my family plays a lot of soccer, so I started playing soccer, and I started hanging around with these guys that played soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really changed my life, because I wasn't hanging around with those guys that were doing bad stuff, and all I did was play soccer. So another point I will say is that, if you have kids, put them into sports,
Mm.
because they're not going to be thinking about all these different things after school. Like after school, they play sports. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And so that's pretty much all I did. Play soccer. Then I went to
Were
high school.
Were you in a team at that point outside of school in middle school?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So that's what happened. Like during the weekdays after school, I would play soccer, and then the weekends we will have like the actual games,
Okay. Okay.
soccer games. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So then I went to high school, and I continued doing the same thing, just playing soccer. At this point, school was not important to me.
Oh, really? Soccer was important.
Soccer, because I'll tell you, we would skip school to play soccer.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
we would skip school to go play soccer at my friend's house.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, my other friends will skip, and they will do
Bad things.
smoke and drink and all this other stuff. So at least I wasn't that bad.
Mm-hmm. You're going in the right direction. So you're getting better. You're in a better
I was
situation.
getting better. As far as school, school was not that important to me at the time. I would go to school. I would barely pass my classes, with D's and C's.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated with a 1.6 GPA. You
Okay.
know,
And what made you not so want to be interested in school?
I really don't know. I really don't. I didn't see the importance in it.
Okay. Did your parents want you to do well in school?
Yeah, of course they wanted me to do good, and but the thing is, they didn't know a lot about it. Like they didn't know if I was doing good. Like
Ah.
I would show them that I was passing my classes,
Okay.
but they didn't know I was barely passing my classes.
Mm, okay.
Like I only failed one course in high school, and that was biology.
Okay.
So I graduated high school, and I didn't start college right away. I started working in a lot of different jobs. I was doing a car wash, factory, construction,
Mm-hmm.
all these different things. But I always felt that I could do better than that.
Right.
Okay, so
Right.
I worked for a while, but then like I felt that, and I went back to school.
Where'd you go?
So,
Where'd you
but
start?
I still didn't know what to do in my life.
Mm-hmm.
What career path to take. So then I thought about, okay, I want to stay in the computer. The computers are going somewhere. So I chose information system, which is like how businesses use technology to run their business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But after taking like one or two classes in that, I realized that that wasn't what I wanted to do.
It's too technical.
Yeah, yeah. And then I have a cousin, Jimmy Gallo. He works at the airport. He reached out to me and he told me, "Hey, cousin, let's be pilots." And I was
Okay.
like, "All right."
He said, "Okay, that sounds better than computer work."
Yeah. So I did that. He told me he has someone that could teach us, and so we started doing that.
Start flying.
Yeah. So what we do is we rent the airplane for an hour.
Okay.
And then we pay someone to teach us how to fly.
Okay. How much is that?
And they were charging us like 160 per hour.
Okay. Well,
So I did about 55 hours of flight time.
Yeah. At what point? Hold on, at what point can you start flying? Like, would you have to like learn like in a classroom for like a week or two, and then you can get a fly?
No, no, like that is you just pay you just well this one
Okay.
it's not like a full course. Like they have courses you could take.
Right.
But this one was like, okay, I pay you to come show me how to fly, and whenever you're ready, you start flying on your own. So I
Oh, what?
yeah, so I started flying on my own.
With someone next to you, right? Like,
No, no, like I started flying by myself.
how? What now? What do you mean? Like, hold on. So they just gave you like the keys to a car and like drive?
Yeah,
How,
yeah. It's
how did
like when
how did
you
you how did you know what to do?
yeah. So no. So first you fly with the instructor.
Oh, right. Okay.
When you feel comfortable, you
Ah, okay. I thought
start.
you said that you go up on your own the first
No,
time.
no, no, no,
Whenever
no,
you're ready, man.
no. No, the instructor teaches you, and I guess when he feels you ready.
So he probably flies it the first time, shows you everything. Okay, got it.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So at this point, I was ready to do my test and get my license. But at this point, I was still in college. I was still majoring in that information system, which I knew I didn't want. But then I took this course. I took this course in entrepreneurship,
Hmm.
and I think that was a turning point
Mm,
in my life because everything the instructor said about entrepreneurship like was like music to my ears. Like you can make all the money you want. You can work with the people you want. You can make your own schedule. Like all these things, you know, it really resonated. And I think what helped me too was my dad. He always been like a small business owner,
hmm.
um, and I think that really helped with that too.
Did you see that growing up? That.
Yeah, yeah. He never really worked for anyone else.
Hmm.
But he never really grew the company that much. It was more like a one
Yeah.
guy, you know. So yeah, so at this point I was like, okay, I have my pilot and I want to have my business. So at this point, after 55 hours of flight time, I start doing a little bit more digging as to what a little bit more about being a pilot. And then
Hmm.
I realized that okay, when you're a pilot, you stay at home for 3 days and then you fly for 4 days. Like you're all over the place. So it's like you'll go to New York and then California and then
Hmm.
all over the place and come back in 4 days.
Right.
And I didn't like that.
Mm,
So that's something I will say is when you're gonna choose something, um, do do a little bit more research before you take action. You know,
hmm.
um, I will ask, okay, we all look at how much they make, but
Right.
what about their hours? How much time do they work?
Hmm. Hmm.
Or their schedule, what else? Actually go as far as meeting someone that's
Hmm.
actually doing the job that you want.
Right.
Ask them questions, how do you
Hmm.
what do you like about this job? What do you don't like about it?
Hmm.
Maybe you realize that you don't really like it after that.
Right.
You
Yeah.
don't like
Yeah.
we know people that have gone to school, got a degree, worked at a job for 6 months, and then realize that they don't like it. Now,
Uh-huh.
so now they have to go back get another degree. Why not do your little research beforehand?
Yeah, it may be more work like up front, but in the long run, it's way better to know what it looks like than to like find out
Exactly.
later. So yeah, I would if I could go back, I'd change that too. I would like I considered everything from nursing, computer science. If I would if I could go back, I would just talk to a nurse, talk to computer science, talk
Yeah,
to an accountant, and then actually see what their day looks like,
yeah,
and then make
yeah,
a better decision.
yeah. And another thing is it's not just about like if you go to college and this stuff. Like if you graduate, still do a little research and choose something and go for it. Not just whatever falls in your lap. That's what you take. You know,
Mm.
actually do research. Aim for something high and go get it. Do whatever you got to do to go get that job. Talk to whoever you need to talk to. Develop the skills you need to develop.
Or
You
even
know?
do an internship or do some work for free.
Yeah, do whatever you have to do to go and get that job instead of just whatever falls in your lap.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah, but what I mean by that is also like doing internships for free. So like for me, I wanted to know what film was like, so I got an internship in film and like
Yeah,
studio work, and it was cool for 6 months. But then in the end, I decided, I don't think I want to do this. So but
yeah,
before I thought that's what I wanted to do. Like I really wanted to make videos, but then I was like, I don't think I want to do that anymore.
yeah,
So, but only discovered that because I tried it out and I did it for free, basically.
yeah,
So I would suggest to do that in different, like whether it's engineering, pilot, whatever you can shadow a pilot, just whatever
yeah,
you
exactly.
do to get exposed to this kind of different career paths.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I would say too.
And also going back to the GPA stuff, like your parents not knowing what that really meant, they couldn't really understand. I know same thing with my parents, my family. They just wanted me to graduate from high school and then go to college, but they didn't know how to help. They were just like, "Yeah, we want you to do well." But we're like, "All right, well, what does that look like? What does that mean?" Like my mom didn't even know about hope, didn't know about
Yeah.
SATs.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, and when I remember it was senior year, they were telling us, "Oh, you got to take SATs and you have to have your GPA needs to be, whatever X
Uh-huh.
amount." And I was like, "Oh, dang!" So I started looking it up, and I was like, "All right, well, I can get into this school, but I can't get into these."
Yeah,
And then I was like, "And I need to do better on the SATs." But that's all I knew.
yeah.
So I mean, maybe hopefully some people, hopefully now kids in high school maybe they have a better idea, but I don't know. But if they don't, like
I
that's
don't think so because
no.
my sister, she this year she graduates high school, and
Hmm.
she didn't know about Hope and all and FAFSA and all these different scholarships that can help you. You know,
Right.
she didn't know about that stuff, but it's good that we're here to. We already been through it, and I can show her,
Hmm.
how to do all that.
Literally just by maintaining just straight beats can help you so much if you get hope. Like it's available to anyone and well, everyone that's like qualifies. I know there's
Yeah,
a lot in like the Hispanic community that don't qualify for it, because they're
yeah,
DACA students and etc.
yeah,
But if you can take advantage of it, it's not that difficult to get. And even if you can't get it out of high school, after you hit 30 credits in college, you can reapply and then get it again if you maintain A's and B's. So
yeah.
it's not that hard to get. And actually, I had to get it afterwards.
Yeah, I
Um,
got it afterwards too. I can't get it with a 1.6
yeah,
after.
yeah, you can't get it with that. Yeah, but the thing is, you got it though, so
Yeah,
that's good. Um,
right.
so yeah, so once you're doing the pilots, pilot training, going to school.
Yeah.
Were you still working the construction jobs too?
No, so at this point, I was during the college, I was driving a tow truck, and
Okay, okay.
I was towing cars. Yeah,
That's okay, cool.
yeah,
Was it like okay? Well, that's kind of like like freelancing, kind of doing your own thing in a way, right? You would do it
yeah.
like part.
And it was my dad that he started it, and
Ah,
he
okay.
told me to do that. You know,
Cool. So it's like a
but I
small
never,
business.
yeah, it never really opened my eyes that he was doing that.
You just thought it was normal, right?
Yeah,
Hmm.
you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's nothing that's not normal about it, but it's like he's doing it independently,
Yeah,
like he just get up and do it whenever he wanted,
yeah, yeah,
basically, like side hustle. Basically, this is what it was, a side hustle.
yeah.
Or was he doing that full time?
No, he does
All
he
kind
did
of things.
a lot of things. At first, he used to sell cars, buy and sell cars.
Mm-hmm.
Then he had a bus. He used to drive a bus. Then he did the tow truck. Then right now he's doing a dump truck. So he's hauling,
Okay.
gravel and all these things for construction companies.
Yeah.
So he's always been doing his own thing,
Yeah. He sounds like he's a hard worker and hustling and just doing
Yeah,
doing what he has to do. I like it.
yeah. I think that's why I thought it was easier for me to think in that entrepreneurship um,
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah, and also, and if like, I guess if there's people that are in getting out of high school or already out, but they're so confused. For me, I could never. At the end, I couldn't really pick a degree that made sense for me because at the end, I wanted to do my own thing on my own. I wanted to travel. I wanted to work remotely, and this is like a few years ago, and it's still kind of brand new. But now with COVID-19, everyone's working from home. But that's
Yeah,
what I always wanted to do, but like from abroad, in different countries, and just kind of be able to move and stuff and
yeah,
whatnot. But no professor, no accountant could tell me, hey, do this and you'll be able to do that because
yeah,
they were just like in careers in offices, traditional career paths. But once I met people that worked online, this is where networking comes into play and exposing yourself to
yeah,
different people is when I learned this whole new world about digital entrepreneurs, the people just building e-commerce, I mean all sorts of businesses online that allow you to just kind of move wherever you want, really.
yeah,
So if you feel like you're stuck, I would just whatever interests you, if you want to learn about pilot stuff, you can reach out to him, just find people that are doing what you think is cool and kind
yeah,
of look into it more, ask
yeah.
more questions. Um, so yeah, man, but going back to your story, you're in school and learning about entrepreneurship at this point. Then what happens next?
Yeah, so after doing more research into the pilot, I decided I didn't want to take that route.
Right.
So all this time and money spent into that, could have been avoided if I did a little research before getting into it.
Mhm.
Okay, so I left that. So then I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So now it's about choosing what career, what business you want to have. And I did a lot of thinking, but after going home from school one day, I heard an ad talking about real estate, and
Mhm.
then I did a whole bunch of digging, and I liked everything about it, so stuck with it. I got my license. I bought a course that teaches you how to do all these different things, and you know that's I've been stuck with it. You know,
Mhm. You're
yeah,
still going at it with that.
yeah.
Okay. And what would you change about anything about this whole time that you were figuring things out? What would you go back? What thing would you change about that journey that would maybe help you go faster, or maybe have or develop your skills even faster?
So I think what really changed my skill is books, is reading, you know.
Mm,
And I tell you, before graduating high school and almost graduating college, I probably read two books an entire lifetime.
mhm,
I never really read. Um, But really, if you think about it, like you have all these successful people in the world that they wrote about how they got there,
mhm,
and we don't read it. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like all the wisdom in the world is in that book, and we don't read them. And you can really develop all the skills that you want from reading and from using YouTube too. Like you can do surgery from YouTube.
mhm,
So everything, all the skills that you need, you can develop. And I know for some of us that we don't usually read, it can be hard to sit there with a book. So what really changed my life was that professor. He told me to use Audible book
mhm.
with Amazon.
Yeah.
And what you do is you just listen to the book. Like
Right.
you driving in your car and you listen to the book. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
So and there is when I started thinking big. My mind started opening about all these different things,
mhm.
and I think that's a life changer right there.
So,
And it's whatever you want. If you want to be fit, like study fitness.
mhm,
If you want to be happy, study happiness. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
That is what all these books taught me, and I think a lot of people will benefit from that.
Yeah. What made the professor, did you ask him for advice or did he just tell you? He's like, "Hey Dennis, I think you should read or at least listen to an audiobook?"
Yeah, I don't know how he approached it. If I asked or
Mhm.
he would,
Oh,
but
okay.
I know he told me, and then I went back and I ordered it. So
hmm And but it seems like maybe at this point you were already, is this in Kennesaw that he told
yeah,
you
this
this?
is in Cancel. Yeah.
Okay, but what was driving you to want more, to want to do better? Because at first
I
it
think,
sounded like you weren't sure, but
yeah,
then something started burning and you just said, I want more out of life. I want to,
it,
and you're
it's
like, I'm willing to read now. Like what something must have happened. Like what was it?
so it started with me working, because when you work, like that's hard work,
Like
you know.
construction work or just in general work?
Yeah,
Yeah,
construction,
yeah.
that's labor and sun hitting you in the face, and that's tough work, you know.
hmm
And then you think about other people that are in an office space or somewhere else, and they're making more money than you, and they're not really working harder than you.
Yeah, they're not
know?
physically working harder than. Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
hmm
so I think that's really changed my mindset a little bit.
When you made that realization.
Yeah,
hmm
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
then that's when I started to the education. I
uh,
saw the importance in education.
yeah.
That's
You saw that, hey, like these people do, a lot of people work in offices and do these things, but they had to go through some kind of education to get there.
yeah, yeah.
hmm
And towards the end, when I was in the entrepreneurship mindset, like I didn't even want to graduate anymore
You're like, I don't need this.
because I don't really need this to have my own business.
Yeah, I mean, I guess technically you don't, but but go on.
Yeah, but then I graduated because my mom really wanted me to graduate, and
Mhm.
yeah, and I was almost there too. I had like semesters left. So
Yeah, you might as well. I mean, like for like I guess
yeah,
immigrant families, Hispanic families, like you getting degrees, like their dream come true, basically.
yeah,
It,
yeah.
it is,
And,
man. Do you
and the
remember?
lie, and the thing is that to be successful, like you don't really need a degree. Like you mentioned, there's a lot of opportunities that you can do that you don't really need a degree. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I do recommend it if you want to be like an accountant or a doctor or something like that. I would recommend, but there's a lot more opportunity in other spaces that with this new technology that you can do, and you
Right.
can be really successful and very flexible and all the things you really want.
Without like a formal like education. I mean,
Yeah,
just even like for example, if you want to do marketing, like I you don't even need a degree anymore. Like you could just gain experience. I gained a lot of experience running Facebook ads for restaurants, for random small businesses.
yeah,
Like I mean, business owners, then at the end of the day, all they care about is results. They don't care about like, well, what degree did you get? They want to like, how much money can you bring me?
yeah.
And can you prove it? So I was doing free work for them, just and then bringing them some money. Like, all right, cool. We like this, and that
But
just builds up your like skill set, your
yeah,
resume. Without a degree. Same thing with like
now you have
photography.
now you have proof. Like this is what I helped this other company get.
hmm
Do you want these results? Now you have proof.
Exactly. So
So
so that's what I would do if, for example, you want to do like anything in the arts, photography, video. You just need to do it and build a portfolio, and then just getting better, and then getting better, bigger clients with
yeah,
time. So, but you could do that with so many jobs, so many different things, so many, I guess, business kind of things. Really, even like real estate pays a lot more than a lot of degrees. Doing tax. What do they call it exactly? Like running a tax business,
uh,
doing taxes for people, even that in itself, you can get a license for that, and not that it doesn't take that long to get it. It's not
yeah,
that crazy, super hard to do either. It's just like going through the process. But there's so many, or even like if you want to start a e-commerce store, like you can literally, I mean, you can get buy courses and learn about it, or you can find it on YouTube, and then
exactly.
boom, you have an online business. But you got to try different things. You got to and be willing to learn about these things and put in the time and the effort. That's the hard thing about entrepreneurship, is that no one's gonna no one's gonna help you. Like hold your hand, say, this is how you do it.
Yeah. I mean, entrepreneurship is tough, man, and a lot of businesses do fail. But if you're willing to put in the work to learn how this industry work, how if you really take the time to learn about all this stuff, like you are going to succeed.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I'll say.
Yeah, and also just add on. I think the where things are headed, because I think college degrees are going to become less valuable. I mean, with the exceptions of like lawyers, doctors, specialized skills, those you need certifications for. You need to go to school. But almost everything else, I mean, I got a degree in sociology, studied psychology, and I mean, no one's ever asked me for my degree. They want
Yeah,
to see like what have I done, where have I worked. So this is where like networking comes into play, who you know, and those kind of skills and sales. Like even if you want to work in sales, like I mean, all they want to know is like, can you sell? Can you show me that you can
exactly.
sell? And that's really like if you can develop these skills, you could do almost anything you want to do. You want to
Yeah,
work, you want to get a remote job. It's You just gotta start doing things free, maybe even free at first. But once
exactly.
you get the experience, is where you can start moving into the right direction. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, I mean, but that for me also, I had a long journey too of like not knowing what I wanted to do, being
Uh-huh.
lost, going through like 5 different like colleges. If we could talk about it later, but it's because it was a crazy journey for me, because I feel like my parents, they didn't know how to help me. They were so busy just working. I had siblings that are way younger than me. They didn't have
Yeah,
time to guide me. No one that I knew that had ever really done anything outside of like high school. So I had like learned almost everything from scratch.
yeah,
Having to navigate the school system. Not knowing what was available for me.
yeah,
But luckily, I eventually kind of got there. I feel like now I know what I want, know at least where I'm headed. So
yeah.
it's a really good feeling. So um, yeah, I mean, I just love talking about this, because I wish I would have had this advice, had this podcast. Just one episode probably would have changed everything for me. I could have just gone back and been like,
I tell you, to get a 4-year degree, I graduated in 2011 from high school, and then graduated with a bachelor's in 2017. 6 years to get a 4-year degree because I was all over the place.
right.
So, so
Yeah, I mean,
definitely,
yeah, I mean, looking back on it, like, yeah, I feel like, yeah, it's took me basically the same amount of time. But and it wasn't because we weren't smart enough. It wasn't because we didn't want more out of life. It's just because didn't have the mindset, didn't know what was out there, and
yeah,
no one that understood where we are coming from, and it could kind of take us there. So I feel like that really delayed our progress, really. But I feel like now looking back, I mean, like, yeah, I lost a lot of time, but it makes me even hungrier and like to push faster and harder now.
yeah,
And to help people that are lost now, because I can see myself in like high school kids, like around like in the areas that we grow up in Mapleton, Austell, whatever areas, and I feel like they could just shortcut everything if I just tell them, or they want to know how to do it, and I can say, hey, look, just do this or don't do that.
yeah,
Read this book. Like, and I know it sounds dumb, like I didn't like reading books like that either, but it does and can change your life. There's one in particular that I think one of the first books that I really remember reading is How to Win Friends and Influence People.
oh, that was a good book.
And that literally changed my mind. I mean, I already like psychology and human behavior, so that was super interesting.
Yeah,
But I also remember Googling like how to be happier, how to be healthier, because I wasn't feeling that well, because I was so lost in school. I was like, man, like I just don't understand. So then I started like exercising, reading books. I just tried to do everything I could to be a better person, because I knew that you need these things to take it to the next level.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that you've gone to the similar things. Starting
yeah,
to read books, starting to try to understand that
yeah,
these things are important, essential.
yeah,
And I feel like at least my parents, they didn't know this. They still don't really understand it completely, and they're still going through a process. Um, but I mean, what's been the hardest thing for you to overcome throughout this whole time? Like, what was the hardest thing for you that if you could tell someone, give them a piece of advice on how to help them with that, like, what would it be?
I mean, the hardest thing is opening someone else's eyes.
Mm,
Because
mm.
I feel like sometimes I want to help other people, but they don't see the importance in it. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. No, no, no. I know exactly what you mean.
yeah, that's been tough. That's been tough.
I think I don't know. I remember I talked to a professor once about this because he was Jewish. He grew up in New York, really poor, and then
Yeah,
he said he decided to go to school. Became a professor, obviously, and he said that he wrote like 10 books, and that at the end of the day, like he in a way, I asked him like, do you feel like at some point you kind of like it sounds bad, or the way I was thinking about it then it's like that you kind of you learn so much or you grow as a person, you kind of like overgrow your parents or your friends that you used to have, and then they
yeah,
stop understanding you, and then you kind of want to help them but they don't get it or they don't want to get it. And he said, he's like, yeah, I tried for so many years to try to get my parents to better themselves. So he's like, but at the end of the day, it's like what sometimes you just kind of have to accept that some people will never change, you know, so that put your energy in people that do want to change.
yeah,
He's like, when I go visit them, it's like I don't talk to them about my scholarly work, my books, my presentations, because one, like they don't understand, two, and they're not interested in it. So what I do now is like I visit their world, I talk about the things that they like, and then I say bye. It was a good time, and then I talk to the things that I like with my other colleagues and people that are really interested in this stuff. So I
yeah,
took away that from him, but also I feel like it's really hard to open someone's mind. I think really the only thing you can do is just live your true self, your own life, and
yeah,
maybe someone won't be inspired by it, but I
yeah,
don't think you can get someone to want to change. Like my siblings, man, I've been trying to change them for not change them, but I want them to do better things, different things, but they're just
yeah,
not interested, and they're just so focused on like today, high
yeah,
school, you know. But I
yeah,
think with time, or even like part of the reason I do this is because I feel like there's other kids that maybe might be kind of interested, or even them, myself, they may watch this and they never tell me, but maybe it may make him have a switch at some point. Like, hey man, I think my big brother has some good ideas to share with me. Maybe I should listen.
yeah, yeah. Because there is that occasions where one conversation can change someone's
Hmm.
life,
Right.
but the majority of the time,
Yeah, like I think it's a process. Yeah, like you
yeah,
had to. I think for you, like you had to get tired of your job and the hard work, and then see the other different people do different kind of work, and then
yeah,
you having a question like, why am I doing this? And then at some point, if someone would have came at that right time and said, hey, you don't got to do this, Dennis. Like you can do that and even better things. You're like, all right, man, tell me more.
yeah,
But it's almost like coming at the right time as well, and
exactly.
you not wanting to hear it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
man, I appreciate you having me. Hopefully, we can change someone's life.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that's kind of the goal with this podcast. That's why I bring all kind of different speakers. Some people are like doing a lot of traveling and running their business on the side. Some people have
yeah,
businesses in the States, more traditional. And I feel like people just need to see all kind of things, to really know. I mean, what's out there? The world is really big, especially like even within
yeah,
like Hispanic, Latino communities. It's a whole nother world that I feel like is very underserved. So, and I feel like me and you can relate to that more, can help that audience more. Especially just like
yeah,
I see you, like I can tell you're Latino, like Honduran. My mom half Salvadoran, half Mexican, so I understand the Honduran culture because it's very similar to Salvadoran culture. You know, Slightly different. Sometimes there's like some, but at the end of the day, it's kind of the same thing. Um, but yeah, I'm kind of going off on a tangent now, but yeah, I guess
yeah.
just to get to the final questions, man. Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you? They liked your story, they want to learn more about becoming a pilot, maybe going to school, kind
Yeah,
of people that just want to learn more about what you're doing with real estate now. And
yeah, yeah. They can look me up on Facebook at Dennis Gallo.
Mhm.
That's pretty much it. If they have questions, if they if they liked what I said and they can relate and they need some guidance, they can reach out to me to
Mm,
Facebook,
right.
or maybe they want help with real estate, or
Okay. Do you have a
yeah.
name for the real estate? Like, do you have a Facebook page or Instagram page for the real estate?
No, I use the same
Okay, cool.
profile.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. I
Mhm.
mean, what I can do is just put in like your Facebook link there so that people can reach out to you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, I'll put that up there. And yeah. So now we get into the final questions. Like, man, what are you most proud of?
The most proud of, um, should have sent me these questions in advance.
I couldn't sing the last one in advance, man.
The most proud of is just, that I'm working on myself. Um, and these things, I tell you guys to read and all this stuff, but this is like a slow process. Like, it's like, how do you build a castle? Like, it's brick by brick, step by step. So just set some time to do a little bit of reading, do a little bit of exercise. Like, try to implement everything that's important in your life. Try to implement it in your everyday. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do a little bit of reading. That's working on your mind. Exercise physically. Be with your family. Good conversation. Have God in your life. Whatever's important, trying to put it in your everyday life.
Okay. Do you have like a routine that you could be willing to share with people that you kind of do
Yeah. So wake up at 5:30.
in the morning?
Yeah, do a little 40 minutes exercise. Um, then I do an hour of reading, breakfast with the family, and then work on the business. That's
I love it.
that's pretty much
I
it.
mean that's awesome. 5:30 though. Yeah, I'm ashamed to say I can't. I have not been able to get up at 5:30 yet.
I mean,
Were you always good at that?
get warm.
Yeah, were you always good at that, or did
No,
you?
man. I tell you what. In high school, I would get up at 3 p.m. Like, when I was in breaks during high school, like, my mom would come home from work and I was barely getting up. you know,
So things have changed.
Definitely.
Have you been doing this 5:30 thing for a while now?
No, the thing is, whatever you do, start slowly.
Oh, okay.
If you get up at 8, get up at 7:55 the next week,
Mm.
and then the next every other 2 weeks or whatever, go down 5 minutes. Like,
It's like working out, like
yeah,
physically.
like,
You can't
exactly.
just expect to.
Yeah, and that's what you do until you get the right fit or whatever you want.
Right. And what time do you, man? I'm just asking. I'm curious. What time do you go to bed?
So we go to bed at try to go to bed at 9:30, 10.
9:30. By 10, are you usually like out or about to be out?
Yeah,
Really?
we like to go to sleep early because we wake
Wake
up
up
early.
early.
You know.
All right. I need to make that change because I feel I work most or best at night, but I feel like that's kind of bad too because then I sleep a little bit too much in the morning. So I kind of want to find the right balance,
I mean, everyone is different. Like, I
Right.
feel like, for me, like, I love my mornings. I feel alive,
Mm-hmm.
alert, and that's when I do my reading. It feels good.
Like your personal like alone time.
Yeah, yeah. Do that before the baby wakes up.
Yeah, that's even. I guess it's even more essential for you because you have a baby to take care of. So
Yeah,
it makes even more sense.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the other person I know that does that. Well, I know a lot of people, but like one famous person is actually Jay Valvin. He says he wakes up I think 5 or 5:30 every day. He's been doing that for I think probably a few years, but he's been.
Yeah,
I never thought he doesn't drink alcohol, doesn't smoke, and I'm
yeah.
like I never thought there could be an artist that level, that success, that's wakes up at 5 a.m., drinks the coffee, does exercise, and meditates. It is just so weird concept. Like usually rappers or artists are not talking about these things. They're like partying and drinking, not
Yeah.
waking at 5. And he said and every year he gets to live more like I think like 30 more days of life, or he gets because of all the hours. in
Yeah.
the whole year that he gets to see every sunrise. He just experienced
Yeah.
more life than the average person. And that's why I wanna take advantage of my days more, because I feel like, I mean, at the end of the day, we have a limited amount of time. We're gonna die one day, and
Yeah.
might as well not sleep through it all.
Yeah. And this it's tough. I mean, the beginning is tough, you know, but I mean, after a while, you start is a habit. You know, you start to develop that habit.
The Power of Habit, man. Another good book. I don't know if you read that one, but recommend The Power of Habit.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of good books, man. Rich Dad Poor Dad.
And that was a game changer too.
Yeah, you read the Magic of Thinking Big.
No, but I heard about it.
That
I've
one,
heard
yeah.
the magic of thinking big. Yeah, I heard about that one. It's I got a bunch on my list, man. Gotta.
You know, and after when I started with this self development, like that's what I did. Listen to the Audible when I'm driving, when I'm cutting the yard, like whenever. I just listen to it. You know,
Mhm.
yeah, you don't have to sit down and pay attention. Like it's just on your ears.
It's just going over and over and over and over. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's powerful.
Actually haven't gotten too much in Audible books. I might try it out. I think I like reading it. I feel like I contain it more, but
Yeah,
everyone's different, I think.
yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, it was tough to get a book because again, I barely read like 2 books my entire life. So,
Mm,
and I was a slow reader. You
right.
know, because for the same reason.
Yeah. Yeah. The practice of reading. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of people, you know, that's you reading. You're developing the muscle, your brain muscle, which allows you to think faster and more clearly. And a
Hmm.
lot of people, we get stuck in working on our bodies, but not our mind. You
Hmm.
know.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Well, thanks, Dennis, man, for being on the show today. You
Oh,
know, well, appreciate you sharing, your story, your
yeah.
life journey, where you're at now, all the things that you had to overcome to get to this point.